lot was made about missed tackles against Arkansas. I think the final tally was 21. What are you guys doing to go back and address that this week?
Just going back and practicing and making a bit emphasis on finishing our tackles on practice instead of making contact and just letting the guy go, and just make sure you wrap him up around your feet, stuff like that.
Sherrod, what's the mood of the defense with the guys Mo and Jordan going down with knee injuries?
It definitely hurt. Two key guys of the defense. Definitely hurt us, but we only can move forward at this point. A lot of guys got to step up, try to fill in their position and just control what we can control.
Sherrod, as a guy, obviously Mo's gone through something like this before, but as a guy who's dealt with some season-ending stuff, what's kind of been your role in guiding Mo through this process?
Just making sure he got his head on straight, because, I've been through that multiple times on multiple occasions. Just making sure he got a positive mindset, because, positive mindset really speeds up the recovery time too. So.
And just how are you feeling physically, and are you ready to kind of contribute 65
I'm
to 70?
feeling better than ever right now, yeah.
Kind of off that point, what were your conversations like with Mo or Jordan kind of when the news broke, and how did you kind of react and maybe kind of help them early those first couple of days with the immediacy of it?
I recently only found out basically when the media brought it out for real, and immediately I just texted him, make sure he was good, and let them know that if you need anything, I'm here for you, because I know how it feels to get a season injury like that. Just making sure they stay positive.
Sherrod, obviously last year you got injured, and Damani ended up playing a ton of snaps and kind of filling that role with Mo out now, and obviously you're probably going to end up playing a lot of snaps as well. I guess what do you kind of take to it when you step into that role? And obviously you played a ton of games in your time at Carolina, but I guess what does that look like? How do you kind of take to it?
It's just motivation for me, especially the fact that I got hurt a year ago against Georgia, so it's kind of like a bit revenge for me. So I definitely got a chip on my shoulder this week.
Hey, Sherrod, kind of going off of that, like Ben mentioned, you got hurt last year against Georgia. So going into this game, one, how excited are you to kind of get back on that revenge tour? And then two, what are some of the things that have jumped out to you in watching film on Georgia?
They're pretty consistent. They like to run the ball, but if they can't, they'll go to the perimeter. But lately with the teams they've been doing a lot of perimeter plays. So just got to be dialed in, and then based on the film that we showed against Arkansas, we expect them to run the ball a lot. So we would really dialed in on that.
What impressed you most about Nick's performance on Saturday as a true freshman just playing in his second game?
I wouldn't really say I was impressed, but at the same time, I expected that from him. He's definitely a guy that's going to make a lot of plays this year and in the futures. So he's a dog.
Hey, Sherrod, are there any nerves or anxiety for you coming into this game where you got hurt last year after seeing two of your teammates, have season-ending injuries last week, and how do you kind of deal with that mentally?
I want to say nerves. If it is nerves, it's good nerves. Because I don't really think about the injury. Because, if you think about getting hurt, most likely you will get hurt again. So that's definitely not in my head right now. But I definitely got a chip on my shoulder. I'm motivated. Really excited to play these guys and show what I can do.
Yeah, Sherrod, I know you guys have a lot of different responsibilities at your position. Is there anything about the Georgia personnel that makes them a little different? I guess I would ask you about their tight ends. They get talked about a lot.
They have a really, a big tight end, I think, number 0, I believe. When he's in the game, just expect, the boys to try to run the ball, get downhill, and they like to run screens to him too as well. So we're keyed into those kind of things.
Kind of going off that, as a linebacker, what's the biggest challenge when you have a tight end group that's this diverse? They've got Eric Gilbert, they've got Brock Bowers, obviously, guys who do different things. What's the biggest challenge kind of just that way?
Basically just trying to stay disciplined, lock into our details. Details kind of hurt us last week, so that's one of our main focus this week, and just stay locked in and allow guys to make plays.
there's a lot made of the improvements in South Carolina football, but as a competitor, how much do you look forward to this game? We saw last week in all of football, anything can happen when a team shows up and believes. As a competitor, how do you look forward to this game and kind of, I don't know, is there any sense of responsibility to encourage that in this team that anything can happen? It's college football.
Making sure guys believe that we are a good team and we compete with anybody if we really lock in to what we're supposed to do. We're just as good as anybody in the SEC, and I believe that, and it's my job to get the other guys to believe that as well.
Yes, Rod. You played with Will Muschamp, who's with Georgia now for a few years. Just what are some differences between playing with him and then playing under Coach Beamer, and also what do you remember from that time playing under Muschamp for those few years?
The difference, I would say, as far as between the two coaches, I would say Beamer, he's more of a. I wouldn't say most. Cause Muschamp, he cares about his players too, but Beamer, he truly cares about his players, and he expects a lot from us. And when we want to do right, he definitely will get in our tail. Same thing with Muschamp. It's just they want the best for us and make sure we stay locked in what we're supposed to do.
Hey, Sherrod, what have you seen from some of the guys that are going to be stepping up, like filling the role behind you, like adding the depth, like a Brubaker or like a Stone Blanton?
You said, what am I seeing?
Yeah, what are you seeing from just the guys that are, kind of filling in the gaps, like behind you in the depth chart and whatnot, your fellow linebackers?
I'm pretty sure they're coming along pretty good, especially Stone. He's one of those guys that will get a lot of playing time eventually sometime this season. And he's a guy that can find the ball. He's a ball, so.
Many times you alluded to the chip you have personally on your shoulder, but sort of describe this defensive unit as a whole with a highly ranked Georgia coming in town, the mentality that you guys can step up and continue to take that step this Saturday.
Based off last week, our mentality this week is not let nobody come in here and run the ball on us. Coach made that clear, and it's our job to do that.
Yeah, you're about as veteran as it gets in the SEC. Just looking at how many years you played and what you've been through. I want to ask you about Spencer. When he came in here, how quickly did you realize this guy's talents? And as far as quarterbacks you've played in the league, where do you think Rattler stacks up in terms of his talent and upside?
I recognize his talent. He first stepped on. We was doing little summer workouts, 7-on-7s against each other. He's a guy that can definitely throw the ball. He's accurate. He's a smart player, and he definitely, he'll take his time going through his reads before he throw the ball, or make a play, and he will use his feet when he have to. So I respect that from him. All right, thank you.
Marshall,
How you doing?
on your touchdown run on Saturday, Stogner came over and took out the last guy for you. Just in practice, what have you seen from him from a blocking standpoint, and how comforting is it to have a guy that seeks out that contact so you can get your yards?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. It's an extra old lineman on the field. He's able to, get open blocks, and he's bigger than most tight ends. So it's great to have him out there.
Marshawn, Coach Beamer and Coach Said have been pretty emphatic about wanting to run the ball, needing to run the ball better. What does that look like, and how do you guys maybe adjust or tweak some things to make sure that running game's maybe a little bit more consistent?
Honestly, pretty much we just going to do whatever they give us. If throwing the ball is working, we're going to throw the ball, at times. So if running the ball is working, then we're going to run the ball as much as possible.
Hey, Marshawn, number one defense in the country, Georgia is. What jumps out at you when you turn on the tape about the Bulldogs defense?
What jumps out that they're a physical team. They run to the ball. They're coached by a great coach. Just a really good physical team. They're the number one team in the country for a reason. So it's just we just got to go out there and just be able to compete and just play at the same level they're playing at.
Yeah, Marshawn, obviously you guys played Georgia, last year, but on the other sideline is Will Muschamp, who was, coach here previously. What do you remember about your time maybe coming to South Carolina and what role he kind of had in that and you making the decision to come here? And, just what do you remember about that time being coached under him?
Oh yeah, Coach Muschamp was a big reason of me coming here. He was a great coach. I loved him. There's no, he's the big reason that got me from, to come here to this school. So no hard feelings. He still loved the coach. I just feel like he's, things had to change. So and that's why everything went the way they were.
Hey, Marshawn. The other day, I came across a social media ad you did for BP Skinner.
Okay.
How did you get connected with those guys, and how do you manage NIL type stuff during the season?
Honestly, he's our BP Skinner is the guys that do our gear for the whole team. So pretty much I just got it from the team. As far as NIL stuff, like other NIL stuff, since the season started, I've just been trying to just focus on the season and focus on, holding the ball and stuff like that.
Hey, Marshawn, you got Georgia coming in here, defending national champs, #1 in the country. Do you look at this game as perhaps a measuring stick, to see how far South Carolina has to go or how close maybe you are of becoming an elite team or a championship contending team?
Oh, yes, definitely. We know Georgia's going to bring it, every play. And we know that they're #1 team, obviously. So being able to compete with them and, give it to them will be, good to see where we are as a team.
Coach Beamer mentioned after Arkansas that he felt like the offense was better than it had been, but still is going to be better in the future. Where do you kind of stack that up, and how do you feel? What do you think has to happen to take that next jump that he's talking about?
I totally agree with him. I feel like the offense did make a bigger step from last week. As far as getting better, we just got to be able to run the ball. This is the SEC. We got to get more carries, so I just feel like we just have to be able to get out there and run the ball more, and our offense will, we can't be one-dimensional. We got to be able to, do both things. So I feel like once we get both of those things down packed, everything will go smoothly.
After having time to look at the film, what did you see on the fumble? Was it just a perfect hit? What did you need to do maybe a little bit differently? What did you see?
After watching the film, I feel like the position I was in, I should have kept the ball. Honestly, we're taught to not switch the ball when we're in traffic. I switched the ball to my left hand when in traffic, and it actually was a great hit. He put his helmet right on the ball, and the ball came out, but there's no excuse. The coach, I talked to my coach. I got to keep the ball in my right hand, even on the left side when I'm in traffic. So that's what I've been working on all week. Just the little details.
Hey, Marshawn, just kind of flashing back timeline here. Recruiting. I know Georgia was one of the schools that was really after you. What was that recruiting experience like? Obviously, you chose Carolina, but how close was it, and what were some of your takeaways from your interactions with the Georgia staff?
Oh yeah, Georgia was definitely one of my top 3 before coming here. But I feel like South Carolina had everything I needed, everything I wanted. All the coaches I needed, the people that can lead me into the right direction. So I just feel like the coaches are great over there, but I just feel like South Carolina led me in the best way for me, as well as my after football and with football as well.
Marshawn, ever been a time in practice where Stogner laid somebody out and you thought, oh, man, what's the hardest hit you've ever seen him deliver?
Hardest hit? Honestly, I don't even know, to be honest. We have so many things happen in practice that it just doesn't come this fast.
Marshawn, you mentioned the offense taking a step, and it was really explosive against Arkansas. Less so, maybe the consistency wasn't there between those explosive plays. What, as an offense, do you guys have to do to be more consistent when those explosive plays maybe aren't hitting as frequently?
When we have the ball, we have to be able to make plays when we got it. We can't take step backs. We gotta be consistent. So that's the problem we had, just being consistent and all the plays. So being able to stay on track and not take too many plays. Maybe there's one play off, but we can't have 2 plays off, 3 plays off, and then we just have to stay on track to help the defense out. And we just have to. We just got to get down the field and be able to score. Each drive.
Hey, Marshawn, you mentioned hate to go back to the fumble, but going back to the fumble, you mentioned that this week you've tried to do the little things. Can you kind of detail what are those little things that you're doing to try to prevent, what happened on Saturday from happening again?
Yeah, just not getting relaxed, being able to focus on, instead of making my cut, focus on both things, making the cut and holding the ball at the same time, and also just doing the little things like the coach said, not changing the ball in traffic, being able to just protect the ball because the ball is king. That's that can hurt or help us, and I feel like just being able to protect it can help the game a lot coming up this week. Thank you, appreciate it.
It looked like you guys were trying to emphasize the passing game last week. The pass blocking, looked pretty decent. How did you guys grade yourself in pass blocking?
Obviously, we could have done better, but I feel like we did pretty good. I don't want to, say how we feel about it, but I feel like we did pretty good. We didn't mess up as much as we, I feel like we did good.
Rashawn, Coach Beamer and Coach Satterfield have been kind of emphatic about needing to run the ball better. Just as an offensive line, what can you guys do to make sure the running game is a little bit more consistent than what it's been the first 2 weeks? I
feel like we need to I'm more connected, move more as a unit together. Every step we take, we got to be in sync with each other. So I feel like the more we rep it, the better it'll get. So consistency is what we're trying to establish right now.
Georgia's number one in the country for a reason, but how difficult is that Georgia defensive line going to be to go up against on Saturday?
I feel like they're a bunch of great players, and they all play very physical, but we just have to keep on doing what we do. We just have to keep practicing hard, playing hard, establish the run, and pass block. So I feel like if we play the way that we should play, I feel like it could be however we leave it up to be.
Rashawn, you mentioned consistency. How do you guys go about growing that during a season when you guys are game planning and trying to figure out to prepare for a team and not necessarily maybe focused on yourself as much?
One, we could study film, see what we're lacking on, see what we need to fix, and continue to do the same thing at practice day in, day out, work on our steps, work on our communication, know the plays, and just keep on working together and becoming more of a unit every week.
Hey, Rashawn, I don't know how often you got matched up with Jalen Carter, number 88 for them. If you've got some experience with him, can you talk about what makes him a little bit different?
I've never played up against him last year. I didn't play that many snaps versus Georgia last year, but he's a good player, so that's just say enough in itself. He's physical. He has good get off. He's strong with his hands, so it's an SEC ball game.
What does having a quarterback like Rattler and his mobility kind of do for you as a lineman? Yes, we saw him moving off his spots more, kind of throwing on the roll more against Arkansas.
I feel like it creates a more, like, you still have to block at the end of the day. You still have to block for any type of quarterback, no matter mobile or not. But I feel like him being able to move off the spot, it creates a more variety, and it creates rushes to have to watch and protect and make sure they're watching the scramble. So it relieves a little bit of stress, but we still have to block.
Hey, Rashawn, obviously you guys did play against Georgia last year, but Will Muschamp on that other sideline, I know you played under him for a little bit. Just what do you remember about him, and maybe what did he mean to you when he was your head coach?
Coach Muschamp, he was a great coach. He helped us a lot. He talked to us a lot. So I feel like Coach Muschamp is just one of those situations where he's on the other team now. So it's just we have to play up against him now. Okay. Thank you.
First two touchdowns last Saturday, you had some of the last blocks before the run carrier got cleared and went to the end zone on Lloyd and Van. One, how much do you love blocking? And two, how rare is it to find a guy like yourself, an offensive guy, who seeks out the contact?
Just having like a team first mentality. Those are my guys, and when they score, I score too. The team scores, so just loving the team and do anything to help the team win.
Hey, Austin, Georgia's scoring defense first in the country. How does this offense go about creating some rhythm and trying to put up points come this Saturday?
Just continue to listen to our coaches and practice hard, and it'll eventually come. They're a really good team, and we just got to continue to do our stuff and, see what happens.
Austin, kind of sticking with it a little bit, the offense was really explosive against Arkansas, but consistency-wise maybe a little up and down. How do you guys go about being a little bit more consistent when you guys aren't being as explosive as maybe you were against Arkansas?
Just continue to, practice hard and listen to our coaches, and eventually our click. It was our second game, so of course there's going to be ups and downs. Haven't truly found, what we are like in all aspects, but we're going to find it. It's the second game together, so we've got time, but it'll start clicking.
I'm curious, Clemson's obviously the big rival around here, but Georgia's pretty well hated by a lot of the fans here in this area as well. Have you gotten a vibe from that at all from your fellow students or teammates on kind of this is a pseudo rivalry for the team?
You just got to play attack every game the same. It's not necessarily who's a big rivalry, but obviously they're number one team in the country, so.
Coach Beamer said after Saturday that he felt like you guys were better than you had been, but still not as good as you're going to be. Do you feel that? And if so, what do you still have to do to kind of take that next step he's mentioning?
We were for sure better on Saturday than we were the week before, but still it's not enough. We didn't win, so but we were for sure better. We just got to continue. We had a good week of practice last week. We bought in, so we just continue to buy in and trust in, and eventually it'll click.
Austin, feel free to tell me if I'm reading into it too much, but whether it's, you hitting some of those blocks and springing some guys or Juice going off for 180 whatever yards it was. I mean, is that some of those moments that you guys feel like things are taking that step forward, some of those things that are starting to click and kind of maybe snowball a little bit as you get into the middle part of the year?
No doubt. Like you said, there's flashes everywhere. Flashes good, flashes bad, but you're going to have that anytime. I mean, this is our second week together. Spencer's second week as quarterback, so it's going to, it takes time, but we'll eventually, we were better than last week, took a huge step, so hopefully we take the same step.
Hey, Austin, we've seen, you, Juice Wells, Amarian Brown have all kind of had that connection with Spencer, in that offense. What has it been like to come in with this kind of big group of new guys and, finding that comfortability in the offense?
Just continue to find my role just like in any play. If I don't have the ball, go make a block. So just having the team first mentality, and everyone on this team does. We all play extremely hard. So,
Austin, you mentioned Georgia being the number one team in the country coming in here. What have you seen from them on film, and how tough of a matchup are their ends and linebackers going to be for you?
They're good. Like I said, the number one defense in the country too. So, they're good, but we line up on Saturday, so we'll see then.
Hey, Austin, given the fact that you already have your marketing degree, does that help you at all in understanding the NIL stuff or managing it or anything along those lines?
Yeah, for sure. Is make it kind of, a little bit different. It helped me in some of my classes. I can do projects on myself, so it's kind of nice. Yeah, so that's helped me out, and now I'm getting my MBA here, so.
Stock, through your football career, was there one block that you remember above any others where you really laid someone out?
I don't know. It's good when you get an RBI when you run them in for the touchdown, so those are pretty good.
Hey, Austin, I know you guys work a ton in the offseason together, but in terms of getting the timing in the game with Spencer, is it just a matter of enough games? And then secondly, I know Georgia plays a lot of this match zone. Have you seen a lot of that throughout your career? How unique is that coverage plan they use?
Yeah, we know we get it'll eventually come, the tempo and, how much we run the ball, whatever. It'll start to click. We'll start to find, more and more our identity. And then defensive-wise, they run a good scheme. So, you got to prepare all week and to get ready for it.
Dog, how many RBIs do you have? Do you keep track of that stuff?
I don't keep track. Well, I got 2 from last game, so there we go.
Yeah,
I'll start there.
You mentioned things starting to click and guys gelling. Where do you feel like you are personally in just understanding this offense and what Coach Satt and Coach Ryder kind of asking you to do?
I'm understanding it a lot more. You can play. It's one thing knowing, you know, what you have to do, and there's another thing where you know the whole scheme of things and where the ball is and why you're running this route. So, you know, I think I've, you know, more and more starting to get that and get a better grasp of things. And so that's, and everyone in this offense is, you know, you can tell from last year to this year how this offense runs just because people know the system more and know why they're running a route as to just running the route instead.
Austin, I know they list Jaheim as a tight end, but he can line up almost anywhere. What is it about his versatility that really helps that unit go?
He's just he's like a freak athlete. He can really put him anywhere. So just getting him in different spots where he can make plays is really good, and you know that's what makes us versatile with Nate Adkins as well in that room. So we're all kind of different bodies that work really well together.
What's it like balancing that priority list of like the needs improvement and then looking at the number one team in the nation? You've mentioned it multiple times. They're the number one team in the nation and for a reason. How are you guys finding that balance and attacking that priority list? Because it's also about more than just this week. You have a season to improve for as well.
Yeah, it's about us. It doesn't matter who's coming in here. It's about us at the end of the day. So we got to continue to just improve ourselves because you know we're not practicing necessarily we're getting better for Georgia and we're getting better for 5 weeks down the road when we play the next team. So continue to improve ourselves is what Coach Beamer stresses on, and it's about us. Thank y'all.